All right, Will, we're back for another Saturday.
Welcome back.
Rock and roll.
Uh,
So we're going to talk a little fast and loud, Jay Leno's Garage, and then get on to our movie review.
okay,
Sounds
sounds
good.
good.
All right. Fast and loud. So this was a crap
A
episode.
disappointment.
It was previously filmed for a European audience um, to broaden Fast and Loud's appeal overseas or something. Um, I don't know. So it was the Fast and Loud games. It was something like that. It was dumb. The Gas Monkey games. That's what it was. Gas Monkey games. So they got Misfit Garage and the people that basically either left or were fired from Gas Monkey Garage who formed their own little thing. And you know what a lot of people don't realize is Richard is a television producer these days. So Fired Up Garage, Misfit Garage, these guys, he produces that show for Discovery. Just
Okay.
like Garage Rehab, he produces that show for Discovery. So he's an executive producer on both shows. So it's not like it's not like oh he hates those guys. Well, no, he doesn't.
Is he an older guy or is he our age?
Richard, I think
Yeah,
he's 50. I
50.
think he's 50, so he's a little bit older than us.
So he produced this episode.
He produces the shows. So
Okay.
Richard Richard was in marketing. So he was like a cop, then a fireman. Then he had his own marketing firm, which he built up, and he sold it for like some millions of dollars. We don't know, like $2-3 million, and that's what he used to start Gas Monkey Garage. And so he got Gas Monkey Garage. He got that going. He is real life friends with Dennis, who owns Black Mountain Jeep with his brother Dennis Collins. And Dennis is super wealthy and has his Jeep company. Um, and they had a Ferrari that they had customized, and they won the real life Cannonball Run, which is held every year. There is a real life Cannonball Run, and it's held every year. The route is different every year. But Richard and Dennis set the record at the time for New York to LA, and he has it tattooed on his arm. Um, so he did that, and he was pitching Gas Monkey to Hollywood for a long time. It took him, I thought he said 2 years, 2 or 3 years of pitching it before it actually caught on. And he's used that to basically build an empire because now he's got Gas Monkey Garage, he's got Gas Monkey Energy Drinks, he's got Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. He sponsors race teams. He's got the apparel. He's and now he's got these other shows that he does and produces and owns. So yeah, Richard's balling
Do
now. He's like he's built his Gas Monkey empire.
you remember those? You remember they used to do Battle of the Network Stars?
Yes,
Yeah, where it was kind of humiliating, but they weren't really competing. That's
right.
what this episode sounds like that you're talking about.
It was Battle of the Gas Monkey people. And they
Okay.
did like Richard was posing as like a sportscaster, and they had Mike, the painter from Gas Monkey, go against Tom in like they put him in speedos, they put him on mechanics creepers, and they slid him across the driveway into bowling pins, and they both hit their balls on the pins, and everybody laughed.
They
And
should have
then
had them race their cars, like their own personal
well, they had
cars.
a donut contest, and so one of the Gas Monkey guys spun donuts in a Hellcat or a Demon, and they rated that. And then Tom, the big guy who did the bowling thing, got in and just sat there and ate donuts. This is all, of course, all supposed to be funny. And then said he didn't understand. And then they did a tire toss, and yeah, it was a
Huh.
throwaway episode. Mildly entertaining, but just if you're a Gas Monkey fan and you were looking for car stuff, they've got this Buick build they're doing that's like highly customized. They're building it for SEMA. That's what everybody wants to see. So it sounds like Monday's episode. They're Richard's detailing how now he's going to sponsor a NASCAR team or possibly partially sponsor or a part of NASCAR or something to that nature. I don't know. I think it's just a race team. But in
Well,
the
then have they exposed anything about the car that they're doing for this show, this custom build, or are they
I
keeping
hope
it secret?
so. They're calling it the Battleship Buick, and it's going to have like 700 or 1,000 horsepower, some crazy horsepower number. And it's going to be completely
No.
custom. It's an old Buick Rivy from the 60s. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it is going to be really cool, but there hasn't been much info on it so far in the season other than their concept design, which I never like those because it never quite looks like that. But Monday's supposed to be a 2-hour episode, so they're going to give us the NASCAR stuff, and hopefully they give us that too, but who knows?
Sounds like the car's going to be too fast. I don't know. That doesn't sound
I,
realistic for taking it out for a cruise.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome car though. Sounds
yeah.
great.
Well, I mean, SEMA builds are often cars that aren't really meant to be driven. They're just show pieces. So,
Just sit in the garage.
you know, it
Yeah.
is what it is. Piece of art. Um, so that was Gas Monkey. There just isn't much to say. It was a throwaway episode to me. That's fine. It's weird to do that. I don't know why they did that. Like I said, because it was previously filmed, it was shown in Europe to try to expand Gas Monkey's appeal over there. Why'd you come back and show it in the U.S. in the middle of a season where you
On
haven't given
vacation.
us any updates? Yeah, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
is what it is. Leno's. So then I watched Jay Leno. And he Leno's is always crazy to me because when he gets a good guy on there, you always wish he'd spend more time, but he always has like 4 or 5 different guests every episode. And so he doesn't spend very much time with any of them. Like when he had Tim Allen on there, they briefly showed Tim Allen's car collection. I mean, very briefly. You know, you don't really get to see the cars, and he just bounces and moves on. Like, Jay, this is Jay Leno's garage. This is a car show. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to take a minute. And Top Gear does this better than anybody. If you watch Top Gear or the Grand Tour, the way they shoot the cars, it's unbelievable. It's like cinematic. It's exactly what you want. And Jay and his crew, God bless them, they don't do that. I wish they did. Because Tim Allen has an amazing collection of cars. He's
Yeah, and
all
you'd
about
think
old
that
school
he'd want
muscle.
to show it off a little bit.
Yeah, well, they walked through and they kind of briefly showed each one and just kind of like, this is what this is what that is. Let's move on. It's just that's not what we want as car guys, as car people, and believe me, at CNBC at 10 o'clock, only car guys have sought this out and watched the show. If you're like, well, your average viewer doesn't want to see that. The average viewer isn't watching CNBC at 10 p.m. at all, probably, but much less to watch a car show called Jay Leno's Garage. So definitely, I think in the future, I hope they keep doing the show because Jay's awesome as a interviewer and a comedian himself, and I wish they were paid a little bit more attention to the cars that they have on the show. People will not tune out, Jay. I promise. I promise. You do this, it's going to be better. So he has Jeff Dunham on there. And these dolphin-shaped amphibious vehicles that can go under the water and above the water. So they ride on the surface, but they can go under as well.
Now,
It's
do they
meant-
go? They have to be. They like go under and ride on the floor of or could they are like a submarine.
They're really buoyant, so they kind of go down, but they'll shoot back up too, and they're really fast.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It looks really cool. I imagine they're really expensive.
Yeah.
They did look cool. I'll give it that. I would play with one for sure if I had one, but I probably would not spend the money it would take to get one, if that makes sense.
Jay should think about putting his show on Netflix or something like Seinfeld and the Comedians in Cars show. I think it'd get more views.
I think NBC and CNBC, because obviously NBC owns them,
Yeah.
will never cancel his show because for sure either Amazon or Netflix would pick him up in a heartbeat and give him a bigger
yeah.
budget and let him do what he wants.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Food for
100%.
thought, Jay. Yeah.
So, and of course it's all about market share and all these things. Everybody's trying to build their streaming platform, so there's no way they're going to let Jay Leno go. No way. His show's not available anywhere else. So he has his own little YouTube gig that's separate from the show where he reviews cars from his own garage and people stop in and show off cars. In many ways, that's better than his show. It really is. If you go to his YouTube channel and look at the cars he reviews there, they do a better job of showing the car and talking to the owner, and they go for cruises and they have fun. He gets into wilder antics on his show, and some of that is better, but for the car stuff itself, it's weird to me that he gets it on his YouTube channel and they don't do it on the show. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird, but I don't know. You know what? You and I both know, I'm not really complaining because 15, 20 years ago, you got to watch car shows from like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
On Spike TV or something, and that was all there was. There was nothing else. YouTube didn't really exist then, and so there was no car shows on YouTube. I remember going on to what was the music Napster. I used to go on Napster and download illegal what was called illegal street racing videos. Basically what's on half of YouTube right now.
Yeah.
But I would search like twin turbo Camaro, and you get guys like just random guys out videotaping themselves on the highways in their twin turbo Camaro, blowing people away. And so I would download those videos and I'd put them on my TV with I would burn them onto DVD from my computer and then play them on my TV. So then Tommy and Christy would come over and I'd play those videos for them and be like, look, illegal street racing,
Kids that's what you had to do anyways.
Yeah, back in the day, if you wanted to see it, that was the only way. Yeah. I had to go find it. And then manufacture a way to get it on your TV. You couldn't mirrorcast. You couldn't plug anything in. There was no HDMI at that point. You had RCA jacks or S-video jacks or nothing. So I would burn DVDs and play them in my DVD player. That was nuts. But, yeah. I don't know. That's all well and good. But it and then what was the other thing? He had Leah Delaria from Orange is the New Black. Took her for a ride in the Ring Brothers. I think that's who made it. The Vicious Mustang. It's like this crazy 65 fastback with tons of power, custom everything, ultra custom, super fast, and took her for a ride and she loved it. I think he took her for a ride in a convertible, like just a restored Mustang, and she loved that too. And that's cool. She's into cars. That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's a comedian too. Very funny person. So, it's all good. But, he did some other stuff. That was pretty much Leno's show. I think he raced a lawnmower. He went for a ride in someone's homemade, floating DeLorean. And it's as weird as it sounds. Because I think you could drive it on land and water. It was kind of ridiculous. But this guy, he did it. He has a process for doing it, and he's trying to sell them. And apparently he's going to do a Batmobile next that flies. That's his plan. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Hey, ingenuity, right? But
yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, that was Leno's. So, if it felt like I was rushing that a little bit, I was. Because I'm very excited to talk about Hollywood Nights.
Good night.
Hollywood Nights.
Quintessential movie.
Oh, man. Well, okay. So it's exactly what we were talking about last week with The Wraith. This is not a great movie. Okay? It's not great acting. It's weirdly edited. The story's a little choppy. I'll admit all those things for the naysayers. Also highly entertaining. Yeah. With some early performances from soon-to-be big stars. And very cool. Uncle Walt I was talking to him before this, and he mentioned there could have been more car stuff, and he's right. And for the cars they had, would have been really cool to have more car stuff.
But if you go in with lowered expectations,
If you're just ready to
then
be entertained,
yeah,
you
just
know,
be ready to smile. Yeah,
are some of the songs like the movie's supposed to take place in 1965? Are some of the
it's got
songs
good
from
music.
1966 or later? Yes. Is
It's
some
got
of the
good music.
fashion from after 1965? Yes. Are some of the cars in the movie made after 1965? Yes. All of that's true. Are there boom mics visible in certain scenes? Yes. Is it your typical 80s comedy where all the teenagers are actually 30? Yes.
No more so than Robert Wool.
Yes. All of that is true. All of it, 100%. But it's also funny, and it speaks to me on this level. And Uncle Walt nailed it, and I was so glad because I'm a little leery of recommending this movie to anybody because one, it's needlessly rated R.
Yeah.
The boobies and the extra cursing serve the story not at all.
How many times did they have to moon in that movie? It
Yeah,
was
I
even
know.
at the end in pause.
Yes. Yep.
I was like, what?
Incredibly unnecessary.
Uh,
In fact, it feels really forced. Like they came up with reasons to show women's boobs and these moon scenes. The moon, I guess. I mean, that's something people did. I mean, it's something people still do. So that's not that
to
bad. But
hang
the
out
constant,
poolside with no top on,
yes, the
middle of the
constant,
day.
the constant reasons to have women topless. Well, it's not constant. There's a few scenes in the movie with topless women, and but it's nonsense and unnecessary. But and the juvenile nature of the comedy, I think it would have served it better not to have that. But that's just me. Anyways, Uncle Walt picked up on this too right away, and I was so glad he did because there is a deeper thing at play here, and it's something that I think about. What this movie really is, just like American Graffiti, which it is heavily ripping off, is the end of an era. So, unbeknownst to these characters, for many of them, this is the last time they're going to hang out. And the reason that strikes me is because recently, and I don't remember if it was a TV show or a movie, but recently I saw something where a screen froze of a bunch of boys playing together, young boys, and it said, unbeknownst to them, this was the last time they were all going to hang out. And the caption
Yeah.
underneath said, and that's true of everyone. At one point in your life, you and your friends got together for the last time and nobody knew it. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening in this movie. So you have this deeper thing at play here that is kind of shuffled under New Bomb Turk, who dominates the movie
Yeah.
with a bunch of unrelated running gags. Like, how many things in one night were going on at that school that he was able to keep continuously interrupting?
That was funny though.
It was. What was the first thing he did? He interrupted the pep rally. He
Dressing up
farted
like the kid who
Volare.
won $500.
Yeah, he farted
Yeah,
Volare at the pep
yeah,
rally.
he was farting. Yeah. There's a kid in there running around farting.
Yeah. So he did that, and he was the honor roll student, which is a comedian, Pankin, I think that's his name, something like that. Who was like 33, by the way. He's the oldest person in the movie playing a high schooler. Um, so they mug the honor student who goes along with it because everybody knows New Bomb Kirk, everybody knows the Hollywood Knights, and he goes in and he takes his place and they announce him. Here's the weird part of this. So these high society types are excited to tear down Tubby's drive-in because it's a scourge on their high society and they're very offended by all that goes on there and they hate the Hollywood Knights. Now, that's the setup, right, for the whole movie. Like, we're gonna have a
Yeah.
final night. We're gonna go out with a bang. Tubby's drive-in's closing down, and then they're gonna tear it down and put up office space or whatever. But Newbomb Kirk is like one of the leaders of that gang, and everybody acts like they don't know him for good portions of the movie. Because he sneaks in, and they're like, "Some guy." It's like, you were just talking about him at the beginning of the
Yeah.
movie. What do you mean, some guy? I don't know. It is really good, but there's lots of issues with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess it was fitting. I still think Danza could have done a better job at the Turk.
If they had cast him as Turk Newbomb, or
Yeah,
Newbomb
if they
Turk, I should
cast
say.
him as the younger character because he's younger anyways. He looks younger. He could have played. He could have played a high school kid.
Here's what I would have done if it was me. If I was in control of that movie, I would have made the story revolve around the Knights and Smitty's Speed Shop. So the stars of the movie
Yeah.
would have been Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer, and this buddy that's going off to Vietnam, unbeknownst to him, because there's major overtones, right? The whole time they're basically beating you over the head. This dude's not coming back from Vietnam.
No. Yeah, because they think it's not a war because it's the beginning. It's supposed to be.
Right, it's supposed to be the beginning. They give him this car, and he's all excited, and they play California Dreamin' in the 8-track, and
It's like, oh man,
yeah, he's toast. You're never going to see him again.
See, like 2 years later.
Yeah, yeah. So, if they had done that, and Newbomb Turk is is the same character, but he's in the background running these pranks and meeting up with the guys. All of that could have still happened but the main function and drive of the story was around Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer, and her wanting to go off to Hollywood and become an actress, and he, the smarter thing there than having Tony Danza go off to college, because let's be real. And
Denise Laundrie was having a hard time making that decision.
Yeah. And you're going off to college in the fall for what? Well, so what would have been better is that he's going to take over Smitty's Speed Shop.
Yeah.
So if you tied the two together and say Smitty's Speed Shop and Tubby's Drive-In and the Knights were all tied together. They were an era, a group. They thrived off each other. Tubby's was the hangout. The Speed Shop was where they built their cars and raced their cars and did everything with their cars. There's a better movie there if you do that.
Yeah. But if you lived in a town, Beverly Hills is pretty huge.
Well, it wasn't then.
You,
It was tiny. And that was Uncle Walt's other thing, is like you could have had it in any town. Beverly Hills wasn't big then.
oh, okay. Well, no, but I mean, if that was your gang that was in your town, that was the worst that you had to deal with. Would you be trying to get rid of them?
Right.
Could be worse.
It was I don't know. And then you have the plot line of the pledges. They have the 3 pledges they drop off in Watts,
running around
nude with tires, and they have to make it back to Tubby's by 2 a.m.
Yeah, because the one kid was still wearing a dress at the end.
Yeah.
He was still wearing his big dress.
I guess they never got their clothes back. It was I don't know.
Yeah,
There were things in it that were needlessly focused on at times in the movie, and I think it was trying to be like a bigger movie than it was, like an anthology type thing, almost like I don't know. It was trying to be even more than American Graffiti, and I think that's where it falls apart. As like a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's still entertaining.
It was still a movie.
Well, like you said, you like the '57 Chevy that Danza's driving.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. And the car that he raced, that was pretty. What was that? Was that a Corvette? Was that a Stingray?
It was a Cobra, Shelby Cobra. And he got
Cobra.
smoked, and then everybody made fun of
yeah.
him.
Yeah, but then what the heck? That monster vehicle at the end.
Rail job. That's like a Model A Ford that they converted into like a Pro Street dragster. Basically, that's what a rail job is. It has skinny little bicycle tires in the front, big old meats on the back with a big V8. Usually it's a small block Chevy or something they would have had in it, or a big block Chevy, and then that was supercharged, and so
even
power
though
rate.
that maybe not all of the facts lined up for the movie as far as being 1965. It still had a nice backdrop.
It
The
did. The
cars were
music was
nice. There was
cool.
other cars that were really cool.
Oh, for sure. Newbaum
Yeah,
Turk was driving, I think, a '56 Nomad, his pie wagon.
yeah. The Camino that got towed away.
That was his brother's, a '65
Yeah,
El Camino. Yeah.
yeah,
That was funny, too. That guy looked like Rob Lowe, but bigger. Didn't you think? I was like,
yeah.
wow,
A
that looks like
little
Rob
bit.
Lowe.
Because
Rob
that.
Lowe with muscles. Except Rob Lowe was probably like 18 back then. And that guy definitely looked 30. Yeah, I don't know. It was good.
It was pretty good. I was trying to remember that thing with that cop. One of the first things that he said, and it was really weird. Uh, I can't remember the quote, but he was telling. It was one of the very first scenes that he was in. He had the guys outside on the lawn. The rich guy came out of the house and was telling him, he's like, "What's going on?" It's like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." There was like at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he called them punks. What did he
Yeah,
say there?
yeah. There was something that he said. It was really weird, and it took me. It was the second time that I watched it. I kind of cracked up and I can't remember what the hell he said. I
Those two,
guess,
though, throughout the movie are having weird off the wall conversations the whole time,
yeah,
which is
the
great
mustache that
because,
keeps on coming up.
well, think about like if you were a cop and you were in this, let's say you just had to deal with punky teenagers, but your job was pretty good to go other than that. And so you're basically driving around bored most of the time. This is what they did, right? They were arguing about the lyrics to Lawrence of Arabia or the fact that there
Yeah,
wasn't
there
lyrics,
was.
and the
Yeah.
scrawny cop said there was, and Bimbo was like there wasn't. He starts yelling at him. The best, though, was definitely the bathroom gag when they decided to get him back for being a jerk at the drive-in. And they clogged the
Oh,
toilet
the
on him.
toilet flood in the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took a dump and then he got it like everywhere. You know what was funny about that? Why would the toilet keep running? Like if you hit it to flush, it would flush or not flush. So it might overflow, but it's not going to overflow and fill the room up with shit water. That doesn't
Well,
make any sense. Why would it keep running? but but yeah, and then to have his partner shooting the door to, like
that's
the whole
where
thing
his
was crazy.
engineering skills came into play. Wait,
And
and
I
what
think,
was
like you
with the garbage? They dumped the garbage out in front of the door.
because they knew
How
he'd fall in it.
they knew he would just come out and fall.
Yeah, he'd come blazing out and fall in it. Yeah, he, yeah, he was pretty funny. And then they were talking about the mustache. He's like, "Hey, Bimbo, how do you think I'd look with a mustache?" He's like, "You'd look perfect, perfect, like a perfect horse's ass." He's like, "You're just jealous." Yeah, I don't know. It was cool. The one that blows me away though, and it's a car that I honestly before I saw this movie I never paid any attention to, but the car they build in Smitty's machine shop and surprised the guy that's headed off to Vietnam. That's a 40 Ford Coupe, customized. That was an awesome car. And I love that they were all so proud of the fact that someone did some custom work and put an 8-track player in it. You know? That's awesome. Well, then they played California Dreamin'. But did you catch in that moment, and Uncle Walt caught it too because he talked to me about it. I thought he said this too, but I looked it up. So this is an admission too of my own mistake. But I thought he said, "Is that Tony Danza yellow?" And he didn't. What he said was, because I went back and checked, he said Tony Nancy yellow. He was supposed to say piss yellow in the script, just like they do in American Graffiti. They ask Milner, "Is that piss yellow?" when he asked him about his car. And he said Tony Nancy. And Tony Nancy is a famous hot rodder from the day that did all these custom paint jobs. And apparently, I don't know if he was working on the movie or not, or it was just a slip of the tongue of the guy or what, but he did say Tony Nancy. I thought for sure he said Tony Danza too. Because he's talking to Tony Danza, which would have been
Yeah.
hilarious.
They just left it in.
Just leave it in there. Who cares at this point? There's all kinds of crazy crap though. Because if did you catch the fact that the cops, when they pulled out at the end, they wrecked their car, right? And then like 30 seconds later, they're chasing New Bomb, and their car's not wrecked. And the fact that Knights was spray painted on the door early in the evening, and then it's gone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff, but you get the feeling like he had all like this. The guy who directed this movie wrote it as well, and it probably was his first movie. I think it was everybody's first movie. I think everybody.
Like they were just giving everybody one shot. Like, let's see what it turns out to be.
Yeah, and I think it would be interesting to know what all was shot, because obviously it was edited together differently, and it just feels like they just didn't have enough time or enough money, or an oversight person who's making sure that there's no continuity errors. But I really like the movie. Well, like I said, I think it would have been better if Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer were the focus with this comedic things going on around them. But but you see what I mean, like why the kids couldn't watch it with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I bet, and it's been such a long time. I seen that a long time ago.
Well, the first time I saw it on like TBS or something. So I had no idea what it was actually like. Because I watched it on TBS. I was like, oh, cool, another car movie. All right, for the collection. And then you buy it and you watch and you're like, whoa. This is not what I thought it was.
Yeah, well, and you could never tell. You could never tell, depending on whether it was the early 80s or late 80s, how rated R it could be.
Right.
Because sometimes, what was that Beastmaster? Wasn't that, that was rated PG?
Yeah. Beastmaster. Good God.
That was awesome. So you never knew it was going to be in those movies. You couldn't tell.
Mark Singer. He never got away from talking like that. He did an episode of Highlander and he was still like, Kodo, Podo, go find me some food. He never got away from his Beastmaster voice, no matter what he was doing. Yeah. But I really like the movie. I'm trying to think of all, like we said, there's the 57 Chevy. That is a GM, like it was featured in Popular Hot Rodding back in the day, and Hot Rod Magazine has had it many times over the years, but GM uses it to test new performance products. It's called Project X, and you can look it up now. It's still around, and they still put new parts on it and show them off with it. So that's a car with a very cool history since then, and even a little before then. So yeah, that 57 Chevy is special.
So they keep it around now, the body style or whatever, just for modification and to test parts?
It's been on Roadkill and Hot Rod Garage. They've been on there because they work with GM and stuff on this, and I think it's at one of GM's like headquarters or something. It's on display somewhere right now. So a very cool car. I think it's more of like a pro touring look right now. I think they've got low profile wheels on it and some other engine in it, but they swap it and change it all the time. So I like that. I like the 40 Coupe. I like the Shelby Cobra. I like the Rail Job. I like the 56 Coupe, or I mean the 56 Nomad. I like I don't know. I like them all. There was and I'm not for sure. I want to go back, but I want to say one of his buddies is driving a GTO, but I think it's like a 66 or 67 GTO. I don't think it's a 65. It's red with a black top. Okay. So yeah. I don't know. It was pretty hilarious, and then the band singing at the school dance was hilarious too.
They sounded like the actual guys. Were they the actual guys?
No, they definitely weren't.
No.
But
Okay. Well, they sounded like, man, I knew that guy was wearing a wig.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah, that was
But singing "Run Around Sue" and all those were great. The soundtrack to this show, this movie is really good. A lot of classic, golden oldies rock. Very cool, I thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, you've got to kind of be even as a car fan, there isn't a ton of car stuff in it. I mean, it's sprinkled like throughout the movie. So it's not like there's not like long lulls in between you seeing cool cars, cuz a lot of the show takes place at Tubby's Drive-In and there's classic cars everywhere while they're there.
But that Chevy played
Newbaum's ride, his
played an
brother's
important
ride.
role.
What's
Yeah, it
that?
was that Chevy was a centerpiece
Yeah.
for part of the movie because that's why they continued to show it,
Yep.
and then showed it race and everything. It was a
Yes.
yeah, it's part of the
That
romance.
that was cool.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. To me, it's like a knockoff of American Graffiti, and then sprinkled in like a little Happy Days, and then sprinkled in like some
Animal House.
80s screwball comedy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like a few different things, and it feels like a few different things. Like there was three different minds at work in that movie. But like I said, there was a bigger message there that's similar to American Graffiti. But American Graffiti, it's very obvious, and that's what the entire show is about.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that they necessarily need to do that. I think they could have focused on, like I said, Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer's characters as they were. But again, he should have been centered around the speed shop and staying there and staying local, and possibly the uncertainty of Tubby's being gone and how will that affect the speed shop. The
What was
Knight's
going to happen to
membership
the
is
Knights?
down. Huh?
What was going to happen to the Knights? Because that was discussed. Like, what's going to happen? Everybody's leaving. He's going to Vietnam, and he's going to college.
Right. Well, they were kind of saying like this might be the end of it. Like they don't
Yeah.
have many recruits. They had like 3 guys plus they took the nerd in at the end, the honor roll student
Yeah.
who needed his puffer. Yeah. It just yeah, there was a bigger underlying message there, and in some ways I'll say it was better than what American Graffiti was doing, but also generally not. George Lucas is definitely a better director, and Ron Howard and Richard Dreyfuss and Harrison Ford and all those people were better actors and
Yeah.
actresses. So
Yeah.
American Graffiti is a superior film that's telling essentially the same story. So I don't know.
Hollywood
Take that for
is.
what you will.
Well, I thought it was worth watching. It's always cool to see those people,
Yeah.
the more well-known actors and actresses in their first starring roles, especially with the cars and stuff. Good to see.
Well, and you watch Cannonball, not Cannonball Run, Cannonball with David Carradine. You watch Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, even Two Lane Blacktop. The acting is not good. The story is muddled at best. What those do though is they focus on the car action, and they have the cool lines and the cool look, and it really drives them. And those are definitely drive-in movies and definitely made for that era, and they work. So if you look at this movie the way you look at those movies, or under the same type of lens, it holds up much better. The problem is it's an American Graffiti ripoff, and it's nowhere near as good as American Graffiti. So that's Hollywood Nights, but I don't know. So that leads us to the only other thing that's happened since last time we talked. The
The Lions.
Detroit Lions.
Hey,
How do you feel with their tie to Arizona?
I was extremely disappointed.
I bet you were.
Not to say that the game leading up to that point, I don't think Arizona knew what it was doing. That
No.
weird offense that they were trying to run, it wasn't working at first. Kyler Murray hadn't hit his stride yet. He wasn't comfortable yet. He'd thrown a pick, but so
in interviews since the game, he says that the Lions defense got tired and they knew it.
Yeah. And
That's what
Stafford,
he says.
though, he said it best. Trust me. I've been saying it for the last 5 years. Let Stafford run the offense.
Yep.
Don't call timeouts over him. He knows what the hell he's doing by now.
Right.
He
Well, and
doesn't.
beyond that, they're making a big deal, and the Lions tend to do this. Like when Barry Sanders was there, okay, you had Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And at one point, you had Henry Thomas, Lomas Brown. You had one of the best offensive lines in football. And he ran for over 2,000 yards. And you had Barry Sanders. I can't say that enough. And you had Barry Sanders. And what was their focus the entire time? The entire time they were focused on getting a quarterback and implementing a better West Coast style offense. The entire time he was there. And you had Barry Sanders.
Yeah. All you had to, I mean, at his best, you could have had Eric Kramer just play regular managing style football and let Barry run, and it would have been better.
All you needed was Barry Sanders. We could play a drinking game. Everybody take a shot when I say Barry Sanders. I'm going to say it a lot. You had Barry Sanders. And hang on. Barry Sanders. So I just took a drink of my scotch. You had Barry Sanders. You had that offensive line. You had Robert Porcher. You had Jerry Ball at the time. You had
Willie Clay.
You had Benny Blades. You had
Spielman.
Yeah. Yes, Chris Spielman. You had Luther Ellis. If you had focused on that defense, got it as good as you could, and then kept Barry Sanders as the focus of your offense,
yeah,
that was the problem. When Bobby Ross got there, this was the thing. We're going to bring in Bobby Ross. He's going to bring in a better pass offense, and we're going to pass the ball. You have Barry Sanders. Okay?
Yeah.
And the reason I keep saying this is because the big talk right now is you've brought in Bevel, who is a run specialist. Okay?
I don't see that.
Well, here's the thing. It would have been great when we had Barry Sanders. Okay? We have Matt Stafford, and he's not the greatest quarterback of all time like Barry Sanders was the greatest running back of all time. Okay? So it's not that. But this is a pass-first offense. You have Kenny Golladay. You have Marvin Jones. You have Danny Amendola. You have Hawkinson, who set a record for tight ends in the NFL and Detroit for their first game. And they stopped passing to him at about midway through the third. Okay? This is the pass-first offense. Yeah. Pass first. Your best player on the team is your quarterback. Pass first. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers and they're like, we're going to bring in a running specialist so that we run the ball better with Aaron Rodgers? Or we're going to make running a priority with Aaron Rodgers? No, you're not. You're not going to do that. What you're going to do is sneak running plays in when they don't expect it while you pass with Aaron Rodgers. Idiots.
Yeah. Otherwise, because that's very thin to say that.
Ugh. It just drives me insane because they've done this many times over the years. Look at when different teams win the Super Bowl, how many times is a Super Bowl won by a balanced team with a balanced attack and a balanced defense? Never. It almost never happens. What you generally have is a dynamic and dominant defense with a one-dimensional yet highly skilled offense. That's what you get. And sometimes they're great running and sometimes they're great passing. But you have a solid defense with a one-dimensional yet very good offense. And Detroit just doesn't seem to get it.
Yeah, and it's Stafford's stats have suffered because of what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Instead of letting him, because who knows how long he'll play with the punishment that he's taken. But here you've got a really good team, and I don't think that Arizona sucks. I think that pass rush was real deal, all pro pass rush coming at Stafford all day long. So the point that the game should have been a lot easier for the Lions.
Well, and here's what I saw. They were up 24-9. It's the beginning of the fourth. The defense went into a prevent. This is the beginning of the fourth. Defense went into a prevent. Now, maybe they did it because they knew they were tired and they were trying to protect their players.
Maybe.
Quite possible. So maybe that wasn't a shitty coaching decision. Maybe they had to. But what was inexcusable was they stopped passing to the tight ends and Amendola as much. They started running really heavy for no gains and no first downs and punting the ball away. And Arizona needed a perfect comedy of stupid coaching decisions and then some stupid plays on the field, like the blocked punt, the muff punt. All those things happened to help them.
Hey, Egg knew I would give him another game. He plays like that again, and he's no longer my return man.
Right.
No, you can't do that. There was like 4 or 5 mistakes in the one game just on returns by him.
Right. But you take any one of those things away, and Detroit wins.
Yeah.
So they still should have won the game. You know, I went from thinking there's no way they're going to lose this game to there's no way they're going to win this game. That was how I felt in the fourth quarter. But then they managed to eke out the tie, which sucks.
But it's if they don't learn the lesson, that's on them because that was a lesson. There was a lesson to be learned there.
Yeah. Now, that's all my negative. That's all my complaining. I do lay that loss squarely at the coach's feet. They lost that game for every player on that team and all the fans. That's Matt Patricia and Bevel. They lost that game. Now, that's the negative. The positive is Matt Stafford looked fantastic.
Yes, he did.
Absolutely fantastic. Hawkinson looks like a beast. Amendola still got it. That guy was awesome. Galladay, I still say he is what I said he was before. He's athletic, but not that fast. And so he's not your breakaway guy. He's not going to be dominant like Calvin Johnson or some of these other guys. He's just not fast enough. That doesn't mean he's not going to be really good. I think he will be. It's just he's not going to be that superstar. That's not coming from him.
Hawkinson is going to be a superstar.
I think so. That dude looks like the second coming of Gronk.
He was taking on defensive tackles and linebackers.
He blocked well. He did.
Yeah.
You'd play him full time. I don't know. I think, don't they have 3 tight ends on the roster right now? Ditch one of them right now. Get rid of him. Sign somebody else. You don't need him. Hawkinson is going to start and play nearly every down.
Yeah.
Kid's in shape. He's smart.
I like Jesse James. I do Jesse too. James is a good. Yeah.
I do too. And there's nothing wrong with a 2 tight end set when you're playing a tough defense and you're trying to run the football some. So.
Stafford threw some beautiful passes though. He missed a couple, but.
Well, and some of the 2 of the ones he missed at the end of the game, they admitted that the receiver ran the wrong route, and that happens. You know, we like to think of quarterbacks as watching what the play developed to and then deciding where they're throwing the ball. That's not really how offenses run. No, they throw to a spot. They count in their head a certain amount of time that they learned in practice it takes their receiver to get to a location, and they throw it there. And they have to trust that the receiver's running there and going to do it.
They run in the opposite direction, you're screwed.
You're screwed, and you might throw a pick. So, yeah, you know, it is what it is. But they're still undefeated.
That
was funny.
We've got some tough. I can't believe the schedule.
I know.
It's a crazy schedule. It's like you played the Chiefs and the Rams.
But you know what? Look at last year. They beat Green Bay twice. Which Green Bay finishes a half game ahead of them because they went 6-9-1 and Detroit went 6-10. So for all you Packer fans out there, calm down. You don't have a great team. They're like, well, the Packers could. No, they're not. No, they're not. they're not going to win. I'm not saying they can't win the North because they could.
They could.
But they're not going to win the NFC. They're not going to the Super Bowl. None of that's happening. Get it out of your head. There's not enough team there to make that happen. And I fully realize there isn't enough team in Detroit. But any NFL analyst and all of them will tell you, despite Detroit's shortcomings and despite their way of underachieving, on paper they are a much more talented football team than Green Bay. They have a better defense and a better balanced offense. Sorry. That's why they've beaten Green Bay every time they've played them for the past 2-3 years. And
I am super excited for this defensive line as the season goes on.
Yeah.
I think it's
Oh
going to
yeah.
get better and better. They're gonna be some crushers in there.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could see it in that game. I mean, Arizona had 9 points going into the fourth quarter. I don't know what the hell happened to them. They were playing in Arizona. Is that altitude? I don't know why they got so tired
I don't know,
because it was just a football game. I mean,
but
they
like,
should be in
is
shape to
it
play a
because of
football
the
game.
is it because of the preseason? They're not getting, practices aren't tough enough or long enough, so
They
game time
said
because that kind of
they said
shape is
Patricia works
different.
them like crazy. It was
I
the
know
other the opposite under the other guy. Their previous coach, he was the one who took it easy on them all the time.
Caldwell.
Patricia works them hard.
Yeah.
And they say that the players have bought into it this year. And last year they were pretty disgruntled about it, but this year they've bought in, and all of them are working hard. Now, then I have questions. Why were they so damn tired in the entire fourth quarter and overtime of
Yeah.
a football game? If you're in that kind of shape and you have that kind of work ethic, you shouldn't have been that, because the other team was playing the same damn game you were. So why were you exhausted and they weren't? That's a question those players need to ask each other, ask
Well, that
themselves.
was that was something that the commentators were mentioning at the very beginning of the game is that Detroit's not deep.
Right. They aren't.
They're thin, so their top when they're front end, their starting talent is pretty amazing. But you get past that, and it's like, you know, it's not gonna be too hard. Yeah, so we'll see though. I'm excited. I'm excited for the year. I think it was a tested game. It was very irritating, but still, some of the players looked really good, and I can't wait to get Jared Davis back.
Yeah, he would make a difference. It'll be they got the Chargers tomorrow. That's
Yeah,
no joke. That's a tough team.
they'll kick the crap out of you if you don't watch it.
Yep. If you
Yeah,
play if you think you can coast through the fourth quarter against them, you won't be going
no,
to overtime. I'll just put it that way.
no, they're gonna, but I expect Detroit to kill somebody this year. They've got the talent. I expect a game where they kill somebody. They were so
Yeah.
close in Arizona, so close.
I honestly when the fourth quarter started, Detroit got the ball, and this was before they snapped the ball first, and they decided they were going to run up the middle, gain no yards, throw an incomplete pass, and punt the ball. This is when they started
Yeah,
doing that. But
yeah.
prior to that, I was thinking like, yeah, this game's going to end up like 42-12. That's
Mhm.
what I was thinking. And
But they quit
everything
playing
looked
like
like
that.
that's what was going to happen. And then the fourth quarter, the entire team fell apart. And I believe most of it was coaching. Part of it's the defense being tired, but on offense, it was definitely coaching. It was the way Bevel tried to slow down and create it and have a stall offense. It was so obvious that that's what they were trying to do. They were going to run the ball to give the defense rest and run the clock out. That's great if you have the offensive
You
line
can't
and the
do it.
backs and the scheme to successfully run the football. You don't. You have Matt Stafford. You have a stud of a tight end. You have great wide receivers. That's your money.
That's it.
You don't, I'm sorry for the defense, but if Matt marches down the field in 3 minutes and scores a touchdown, it really doesn't matter what the defense gives up when you're up 24-9.
No, no, but that's when you've got that kind of start. You're going to have players that are going to come up with issues, like Marvin Jones, who didn't get thrown the ball much to it except for in the fourth quarter.
Right.
He's a guy I expect him to get targeted at least 8 times in a game, at
Right.
least.
And they're at a point with Galladay and Amendola and Marvin Jones and Carry-On and CJ Anderson. They're going to have a hard time getting everybody reps. They really will.
Yeah,
But I'll
but
tell
that's
you
why
what you
but you
do.
play to your best though. Those other guys, those are like your safety net.
Yeah. If you're a coach, I don't care if you're coaching basketball, you're coaching football, soccer, I don't care what you're doing. There is such a thing as getting it to the hot hand.
Yeah,
And that can change game to game. Who's the hot hand? If you got a guy that's on or a guy that's dominating the direct opposition, you go to him
oh,
until they prove they can stop him. And
yeah.
Hokinson and Amendola were eating up Arizona's linebackers. They needed to keep their foot on the gas and keep going to them. Hokinson should have finished with 15 catches. Amendola should have finished
Yeah,
with 15 catches. Sorry for
exactly.
Galladay. Sorry for Marvin Jones. You're going to get yours at a later date, but you stick
Yeah.
with those hot hands. and you win football games. Ultimately, you want to win. Marvin
That's true.
Jones and Kenny Galladay and all of them get the same paycheck, win or lose. You have to understand that first. So yeah, they might get upset at their personal accolades, but it's going to sting a lot less if you're winning football
Yeah, if
games.
you're winning and not, yeah, and not tying.
Right. So, man, I hope it's different this tomorrow.
I hope so. Yeah,
I think beating the Chargers would set a statement that they aren't this terrible football team. They're not going to finish dead last.
and we're at home. We have all the advantage in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I know that
I
I need
well,
to um I know that I need to temper my expectations though.
Kerryon Johnson needs to get the ball 20 times a game.
He does.
20 times, just because. Even out of the backfield, he's still a good receiver.
When that's the problem though. They signed CJ Anderson, who's another big time running back. Okay. He's a different kind of running back,
Yeah,
but this is a very successful guy who also expects the ball all the time. So in some ways, you spent all this money in free agency. Did you get too much? You know what I mean? Who's
instead
the
of
running
getting, I
back for
just
the
say that
Patriots?
you build in the trenches. They needed one more offensive lineman.
Right.
I think
Who
they need one more.
who's the running back for the Patriots?
Sonny Michel,
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I don't know why we don't know because it doesn't matter.
because they're successful at it. Well,
Right.
but he's good though. They
He
drafted
is
him
good,
high.
and they use him though. They use him as an accessory.
Yeah,
That's the key, and that's not to hurt anybody's ego, but when you have Tom Brady and you have Julian Edelman and you have Josh Gordon and now you have Antonio Brown, if you're Mario, whatever your name is, you're an accessory on that offense. Okay,
Sonny Michel.
whatever your name is, you're an accessory. You know, Kerryon Johnson, C.J. Anderson. The sad part is they are really talented guys. They are seriously talented. However, they're accessories on that offense to Matt Stafford and the passing game.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the problem with Barry Sanders is they kept trying to make him like equal. They wanted to equalize the offense and they were always talking about we're going to have a balanced attack. No, you're not. You have Barry Sanders. Take another shot. We have Barry Sanders. you Yeah. It just kills me. And I know I'm major armchair quarterbacking the Lions right now. I'm a couch potato. I know it. But God, doesn't it seem obvious?
Yeah, sometimes it really does.
I don't know, man.
It does.
So what do you think? What do you think's going to happen tomorrow? Chargers, Detroit. They're at home. What's going to happen?
I think we're going to see the offense play the same as they did against Arizona. I think we're going to put up over 20 points. The question is the defense. I don't know what to expect from them. Are they big enough to stop the run? Because that's what they're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Snacks Harrison, Daniel.
Well, and they've done that. They did that versus Arizona for the most part. In the Arizona game, what killed us was in that fourth quarter, the DBs just couldn't stop someone. You know,
An
what
old
the heck is
old man couldn't stop.
They couldn't
stop
do
that old
nothing.
man.
And then they fell down a couple times. There was a lot of bad breaks going on at the end of that game between the punt, the special teams issues, and then literally there was people falling down in coverage a couple different times for major gains, and one of them was a touchdown. You know, it was weird because it was all happening in a row.
Yeah. But you can't do that against Chargers, though.
Oh, man.
Fall down on your face against them, and they're going to score on you.
They'll put 50
time.
on you. The Chargers are a team, if you don't play well, they'll hang 50 points on you, 40 points. They'll hang 40 points on you.
Yeah.
So
their offense is stacked. Their defense is pretty stacked.
Yeah. They're a contender, a legit contender. So how you play a team like that is a good measure for how good you actually are. You know, but I would also warn the Chargers, if you think you're going to come in and not take Detroit seriously, ask the Patriots how that went for them last year.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the Detroit beat the they didn't just beat the Patriots,
Handily.
they beat them like a dirty old
Yeah.
dog. A dog
It
that
was
just
like
ate your cat and it ain't your dog.
it was like they knew exactly like what Brady was gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping for a win. But realistically, I don't think we beat the Chargers. I don't think we got this one.
I'd
The
say
Here's
put
what
it
I
in
expect
San
from this season. I think we're going to beat the Packers twice. I think we're going to split with Chicago and Minnesota. So there's 4 wins.
Yeah.
I expected them to beat Arizona. That was supposed to be our 5th win. But we
Well,
didn't. We tied. So we're going to
I'd say
that's going to
we
be
can beat the
4-0 and 1.
Chargers.
I don't know. I'm trying to reason my way to being 10-5 and 1 at the end of the year. I'll have to
Yeah.
look closer again and adjust it as we had that tie, but that was my prediction and I'm sticking with it. 10-5 and 1.
5-1. Okay.
We'll see.
I say there's going to be 4 games that we lose this year, so we would have been 12-4, but it's going to be 11-4-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm right around there with you because we're going to lose to the Chiefs and the Rams.
Yeah.
We might lose to Oakland in Oakland, but
Maybe.
I think it's going to be a good year. I do. Something to root for.
We need to make the playoffs.
Well, this is our time.
That's the thing. If
We're on
other
a short,
teams
we have a
play
very short time
Chicago,
period.
if the blueprint is out on Trubisky and he's come back to earth after last year's explosion, the Bears are going to struggle this year.
Yeah.
Because
they got rid of their real running back. They don't have a real one anymore. They think
he sucked, and the Packers are not a great defense. They don't have a great defense. I don't care what anybody says. I know who they picked up, and I know how they were last year. I don't know how everyone's like, they might have a top 10 defense this year. How? That doesn't make any sense.
So. No.
They're out of their minds if that's what they think is happening there.
If they concentrate on one area and focus on that 100%, they could be pretty good.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll be looking forward to it tomorrow, but that's about all I got. How about you?
That's all I got.
Awesome.
Oh, next
wait,
movie.
we got to pick a movie for next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? It's your turn.
Where's my list?
I'm up for any.
Up for anything? I totally forgot the ones that I put on that list. I still want to do the ones from the list because I have like 3 or 4 on there, and I know. So, can we just decide it on Saturday? Or I can bring it. Or no, I'll get a hold of you.
I don't know. What do you want to do? Like when I know some of your favorites. Do you want to do Better Off Dead? Do you want to do The Wraith? Do you want to do?
No.
Do you want to do Fast Times? Do you want to do?
Yeah, we'll go with Fast Times after Hollywood Nights. We'll do Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Fast Times. Okay. So we'll do Fast Times next week.
Okay.
That sounds good, man. Don't hang up, though. I'm going to shut this down. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. And
right.
I need to talk to you for just a minute.
Okay.
All right. We're out of here, folks. Bye.
Have a good night.